and welcome to Impact Northwest. I'm Matt Samsel, and if you can't tell by the decoration of our set right here, our topic today, the Tri-City Americans hockey team, and they're entering their second season in the Tri-Cities, second season of Western Hockey League action. And my guest for today's special show, our assistant coach Jerry Johansson, sitting to my left. He's sitting in for recovering head coach Rick Kozubak, who was injured in a car accident near Yakima in mid-September. Also here is Americans general manager Al Patterson in his first season with the club. And also in our first period, the player we're going to be talking with is Rob Kraus, the acting captain in the preseason this season so far. And welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for being with us. First off, I guess the big question right now is how is Rick doing after that accident, and will he be ready for the home opener September 29th?
Well, Coach Kozubak has certainly gone through a real ordeal. He was the upper part of his right body was injured quite badly with a bunch of broken bones and so on, but he's one tough customer and a great competitor, and he's stumbled around the rink a little bit this week and kind of getting his legs about him. I suspect that he'll be making some kind of appearance behind our bench in the home opener, although Jerry will have probably prime responsibility. I'm sure that Coach Kozubak will be around to offer something by the home opener and through the weekend.
Okay, so he should be recovering fairly soon and ready to go. Ribs is a tough thing to recover from.
Yeah, it is. Ribs, what it affects most on Coach Kozubak, he loves to kind of get really involved in the practice and scream and do some hollering and instruction and so on to the fellas, and I think they'd be the first ones to tell you it's sort of in a motivating way, but he'll have a little difficulty doing a lot of hollering with those ribs, but we do have a little megaphone set up for him, waiting for him to come back.
Okay, will you be doing very much yelling, Jerry? I'll sitting in. I know that you've been doing quite well in the preseason so far, sitting in for the coach. Anything change as far as when you're behind the bench, aside from when Rick is?
Well, not really. You know, I've been with the team last year, and most of the decisions that are made during the season, whether it be on the bench or in practice, are sort of a joint effort on both our parts. So it's, you know, nothing really new to me being behind the bench. We'll have to pick up a little slack in the yelling department, though, with Rick a little quieter for the next couple of weeks.
Al, how have things been going through training camp and preseason? Any injuries to report? Any major transactions we should be aware of?
Well, we're real pleased with the training camp that we did have. Obviously, all of us coming in new to the Americans this year, with the exception certainly of Jerry, who is a stabilizing influence here. But we were real pleased with the way our training camp went. We're down to some fellas that we think can play hockey in our league. We'd love to get a few more back that I'm sure we'll talk about as we go on here this morning. But at this moment, we made a couple of moves in the off season to acquire some players that I think will really help us. Certainly, Terry Degner was here part of the season last year, finished up the year, and he's going to be a real plus for us. We were able to go out and recruit two U.S. Boys, Billy Lindsay and Scott Levins, who've come in and obviously are going to be able to play. And we have a real find, we think, in a young native boy that's a defenseman out of the Pas, Manitoba, played last year in Dauphin, Jason Smith. So those are four of the key fellas. We've got an awful lot of more fellas that'll be contributing, including Steve Passmore, our young goalie, and Kevin Cushane. But everybody's really jumped in and shown that they want to play on this hockey team, and the veterans that are here have really helped everybody out, and it's been a team effort.
Well, let's go to some video now. We shot the game when you played Brandon in your Desert Classic, and those players that you just mentioned were fairly instrumental in that game. And right here we're seeing, especially on the power play, they got two scores. The line of number 19, Terry Degner, center, and defenseman Jason Smith, which you mentioned, he looks really good, and number 27, the left wing, Bill Lindsay. They produced fairly well right here.
Yeah, they certainly, that was a real neat pass there that we got off the point, and that was young Smith, and Degner there was able to kind of bury it. So it's that line is an excellent line.
And of course, you're trying to work on that power play this season, right?
Well, power play in our league, the real key to anything that happens is power play and penalty killing in our league. You've got to be able to take advantage when other teams end up going a man short, and obviously you can't be a man short yourself too often. But in our league, power play and penalty killing is a real key to success in Arlington.
Steve Passmore looks solid between the pipes, and then, of course, you have your backup, Kevin Corshane. Tell us a little bit about those two goalies.
Well, Steve Passmore is a real young goalie, a 17-year-old. He's been playing over in Vancouver Island. He played midget last year. Certainly, he comes in, he's full of confidence, as most young goalies are, but he certainly wants to play in our league, and I think that he'll be the type of player that, if he's not ready this year, certainly he'll be ready in the following years and be an instrumental part of our goaltending package here in the Tri-Cities. Kevin Corshane has come in as a bit of a dark horse out of Calgary, played with the Calgary Midget Flames last year, and I think that he's a little bit different type of goaltender. Passmore tends to be a little bit flashier and certainly jumping into the game a little bit more. Kevin's a little more laid back and covers up the net and tells the shooters, here's what you've got to hit, go ahead and hit it, and covers the angles very, very well. So they're two different styles, but equally effective. So both goalies are good young ones.
Rob, you're acting captain this preseason. Real quickly, how do you think things are looking so far?
Things are looking really well right now. I think right from the goaltenders, and we got a real big set of defense. They're probably the biggest in the league, and some forwards, and we got a really good coach that strives for hard work and whatnot, and practices have been going really well, and everybody's been working really hard so far.
Okay, fantastic. And as we go to our break in the first intermission, let's check out what some of the fans expect this season from the 89-90 Tri-City Americans. How do you think the Americans are going to do this season?
Fantastic.
Why?
Like Sandwith, Ruck looks great. I'm really pleased to see all the new players out there, and even without the great, fantastic guys we had last year who were in training camp, they looked wild.
No, they did real good last year. I just hope they do as well again this year. Hopefully we'll get Stu and Ole back, but I don't know. I've heard conflicting stories, so it looks like they got some pretty good new guys out there.
What do you think of the coaching change? Do you think that means anything at all? Do you think they'll be a little bit better team with a new coach?
From what I've heard, it's going to be a little bit better. The boys are happier, so I think they have a better chance.
Overall, it looks like it's going to be for the better. It looks like the coach has come in and got everybody playing as a team, where last year it looked like there was some underlying problems, and now put everything behind them, start fresh from them, and go for it.
Welcome back, everybody. Are those perceptions correct? Is it a smoother ship this year for the Tri-City Americans?
Well, I think it was last year. Everybody has to really understand it was a very difficult year for the Americans from an organization point of view. That all of a sudden, out of the middle of the desert, literally sprung an arena with a hockey team that had been out of town for 17 games and came back in, and nobody knowing for sure what the response was going to be in the community, except it was going to be enthusiastic. So I think that although there were no doubt some shortcomings in some of the organization last year, I think that John Oliver and all the people that surrounded him, Jerry and everybody else, had done a fantastic job of putting the team in a very difficult situation and ended up making playoffs, which is a great tribute to the organization. So I think, although there might have been some elements of disappointment, when you surround the year that it was in an introductory type of year, I think that they certainly did a real good job, Ron Dixon, and right from there on down through the whole organization, it was outstanding.
Jerry, you were with us last year. There was a situation where you came down to the last game of the season. You had a chance to clinch third. Instead, the coach decided to put in some players that hadn't been playing for a while. You settled for fourth. If you were the head man behind that bench, would you have gone for that third place and maybe avoided playing at Portland in the first round?
Well, at the time, there was a lot of reasons for what we did. I had to say I agreed with the decision to play some of the younger guys, rest some of our older guys. Now that I look back on it, hindsight's always 20/20. Looking back on it, I think maybe we lost some momentum going into playoffs by maybe not giving it our best that game, by not trying to clinch third place. Like I say, at the time, it seemed like the right move. Portland was, it was a closer road trip. We'd had some success with Portland in recent games. Victoria looked like a tougher haul, so looking back on it, I think we probably would have been better off to keep the momentum rolling and go after third place go right after Victoria.
Okay. And hopefully keeping the momentum rolling is a new a player from last year returning from camp with the Los Angeles Kings, Wayne Gretzky country. Steve Jakes, welcome back to the Tri-Cities. Good to have you here. Tell us a little bit about camp. How was it, and what did you learn?
Well, I learned, I guess, what it takes to be a pro hockey player. You know, it's not as big a difference as you might think. It's just a little quicker, everybody shoots a little harder, and everybody plays their positions a lot better. But, you know, the coaching, it's a little different style coaching, and you don't capitalize on young players' mistakes as much as you do in this league.
Did you get a lot of PT time? Did you get a lot of experience that will help you coming back to the Tri-Cities?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody at camp plays a lot. You know, went with 5 defense and had lots of scrimmages and lots of time to show what I could do.
You'll be a little rusty. Hopefully you'll be able to catch on with your other line mates, your other teammates as the season progresses. But when you're up there in the big boys camp, is speed a big factor? Do you tend to pass ahead of the players back here, or does it boost your confidence to be up there, and do you keep that confidence when you have to come back?
Yeah, it definitely boosts your confidence. When you know you can play at that level, then you know you feel a lot more confident at this level. It's not that big of a speed difference, so you know the players there aren't a lot faster than they are here. They're just a little quicker, and they get their shots off a little quicker, and they're more in position.
And of course, we had 2 players instrumental in last year's playoff drive, Stu Barnes and Olaf Kolzig, the goaltender, going to their camps. Stu going to the Winnipeg Jets, and Kolzig traveling through the Soviet Union with the Washington Capitals. And I spoke with them before they left, and we found out how they felt about their expectations going into pro camp and possibly returning. And here's what Stu and Ole had to say. Does that make your season harder when you're thinking Winnipeg and you're thinking playing here?
Well, the way I look at it right now is, I mean, I'm 18 years old. I've got 15, 16 years, hopefully, of hockey left in me. I mean, I'm really halfway through my hockey career, and my next step is going to be the biggest step. And I think when I make it, I'm going to have to be prepared and, you know, really ready to play there. And because, I mean, right now we're playing with the best really boys in North America. I mean, when you step up there, you're playing with the best men in North America and in the world. So.
Capitals drafted you in the first round. That has to be a big boost for your confidence, and it has to send you a message that, hey, maybe they have plans for you early in your career.
Well, it does do a lot for my confidence, because there's only been 5 other goalies that have ever been drafted higher than me. You know, as far as them having plans for me, you know, they might not be present-day plans, but they're definitely futuristic plans. They are kind of short in goaltending, not to the fact of skills, but to the fact that they're both getting older and that they're looking towards the future, and that's why they drafted both me and Byron Defoe.
And some players to look out for this year, players we haven't talked about, Jerry Sincere, Jason Dorey, Brad Loring. How about those folks, Al?
Well, those fellas are all young fellas trying to make our hockey team, and certainly a lot will depend on what happens with Barnes and Kolzig and those type of players coming back. But David Podlubny's made a big impact on our defense, and these youngsters are certainly guys that are capable of playing either this year, later this year, or next season.
Okay. And as we go to our second intermission, it may be only their sophomore season, but the Tri-City fans have caught on to the sport on the ice in the desert, and with their support, the Mercs could go a long way. Attendance records breaking all over the place in the finest facility in the league. Maybe that's why they've awarded the 1989-1990 All-Star Game to the Tri-Cities. And we'll see what those fans have to say as we go to break. What do you think the chances are of the Americans getting into the playoffs, and how far do you think they're going to go this year?
Well, I think that they're going to get it again this year, and I think they would at least get second.
Second overall or second in the division?
Second in the division.
How do you think they're going to do in the playoffs?
Well, I think they're going to be doing good.
The people are, you know, real supportive of the Tri-City American, because, you know, this is the second year, and this is new to us, you know, because I've never been to hockey. I've never even seen hockey till I came here. I didn't think I would like it, but now I can't miss a game. You're a big fan of Ole. He may not be back this year, but what do you think the chances are with or without Ole? How do you think the Americans are going to do?
Well, I don't know yet, because he's definitely number one. It's like a bullet from the gun. He's, you know, he's always that's all they need is Ole. No one else. I think he's the team. He looks good and everything, you know. They definitely need Ole to come back.
I'm sure the team is confident with the goalies that they have now, even if Ole doesn't come back. But that fan brings out a good point, and our next guest in this third period is Murray Duval, the defenseman, also a forward. You just came back from Rangers camp, and we hope success will follow you soon with that organization. But now you're back with the Americans, and you're back in the Tri-Cities where everything seems to be a fishbowl, and especially with those American players. You guys have a lot of responsibility as far as being role models to you know, the teenage crowd, the younger crowd. How much pressure does that add onto you, aside from the pressure of trying to win games?
Well, the pressure does add on. I mean, you're always in the public eye, and people are always watching you, what you're doing, and you're just trying to be proper and do things as they come, I guess. And
do people approach you when they find out that you are a hockey player a little differently than they would if you were just every other?
Yeah, you tend to find a little bit of special treatment at times. Like people coming up to you all the time and asking for your autograph and whatnot. It's kind of neat at age, like guys on our team, 16 to 20, 21.
That's hard to handle when you're that young, isn't it? To have that kind of pressure that...
Yeah, it can be. It can be hard to handle at times. I mean, I don't know. Like the fans they're great and everything, for sure. But I don't know. Some guys, it might just be like hard for them to handle at times. I don't know. I don't have much problem with it, actually.
I'm sure you don't. Al, tell us a little bit about off-season league meetings. You attend those a lot. Anything that we should be aware of? Any rule changes?
Well, I think this year was kind of a quiet year in terms of rule changes. There was a lot of housekeeping type items done in our league. Probably the best thing, one of the best things we did in our league this year is I think we've got a penalty now called stick infraction. That before there was a situation where if a player used their stick, even in a minor way, it caused a major problem. And so now we have a penalty that's being called stick infraction, where there is contact with a stick that is more of a casual contact, but still something that should be penalized. And I think that's been a real good one. We'll tend to keep the sticks down all the time.
Okay. Of course, many league officials in the WHL say that the Americans, if there are plans for league expansion, that would be dependent upon successes like the Tri-City American Hockey franchise. The arrival of our team created a great rivalry with the local teams, Spokane Chiefs and the Seattle T-Birds. And although they've said no to expansion plans right now in Yakima, where the Sundome sits, we still spoke with officials there to see if that is indeed what's going to happen, if they're going to get a team or if they're going to lay off until future plans develop. And we'll see what they have to say here.
Well, we've looked at hockey at a great depth and realized that it was not something that this building could handle physically or financially. And really the decision was based on the fact that it's just not something that's compatible and affordable to the Sundome. So it was a $2 million investment that no funds were provided for. So hockey has been determined to be a dead issue in the Sundome.
And on that topic, Al, how does the rest of the league look at expansion in Yakima and other places?
Well, certainly from our point of view, I know that we would love to see a team in Yakima as long as it was financially viable and that they could put it together properly. I think it would create a great rivalry. As for expansion in our league, certainly that's something that our league president, Ed Chanel, controls, but I would say that if there's going to be expansion, it'll probably take place somewhere in the northwest area of the United States. I think that's a spot that people seem to really enjoy the game. It's really building and really catching on. So I think we'll see some things happen down the road here in the next year or two in the Pacific Northwest.
Getting the team in the Tri-Cities, was that a pre-planned move to maybe fish out the possibilities of, you know, how well does the Tri-Cities do? If they do well, yeah, we'll go into Yakima. We'll go somewhere else.
Well, I think it wasn't purposely planned that way. I think any operator has to take the chance on coming in and make the investment. And Ron Dixon, I think, had the foresight to do that, and he gambled an awful lot to put a Coliseum in here with the hockey team. And certainly has proven that the hockey entity is very viable, and that'll give more confidence to other operators to look at other situations in the Northwest, Yakima being one of them, maybe Eugene, Oregon. I know Boise, Idaho's looked. There's been Bellingham has looked. There's been a number of areas like that. So it'll give them confidence that the product is something that they can sell.
And with the NHL thinking of expanding into Seattle and Tacoma, that would be fantastic. These clubs could act as almost, you know, the farm clubs for that team if there were to be one.
It certainly creates interest in hockey when you have the National League team there, and certainly when you've got the best junior hockey in the world and the best 18 and 19 and 20-year-olds playing it like we have in Tri-Cities, and feeding players directly to the NHL. There's a real tie there that's exciting for the fans to be able to watch the kids that have come through the system playing in the National Hockey League.
Jerry, how does the rest of the league shape up in your eyes?
Well, I think this year will be another tight race, especially in our division. Seattle looks good this year. Kamloops is always good. They've never not made the playoffs. You know, hopefully Victoria and Portland have an off year. But I think all teams will be competitive, and I think it's going to go right down to the wire again.
And of course, you have Brandon, the team that you played in your Desert Hockey Classic. They have a great goaltender in Trevor Kidd. They look like a tough team as well.
Yeah, they're going to be good. That's got to be, you know, the two toughest positions to fill on any team are goaltending and a natural goal scorer. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we can fill our own net and get a goal scorer. But Brandon in that category is in good shape.
And Murray, being the player on the ice, what team do you think folks should look out for aside from yours?
Aside from ours, I'd probably have to say Kamloops. They made some good trades, I guess, over the summer and whatnot. I'd say Kamloops would probably be a good team to reckon with.
Okay. You're also ranked third in a poll out of the Canadian Hockey League News. That add pressure on you guys at all, or do you expect yourselves to be in the top three?
I think we expect ourselves to be in the top three. I mean, we got a lot of guys returning and whatnot. I think we should look out for a good season, have a great year.
Okay. And when we come back, we'll wrap things up and have an overview of how the American schedule looks like. We'll be back right after this. Hockey for the past half hour with the Tri-City Americans, and looking at the schedule, we have tonight's game against the Seattle T-Birds at home.
Yeah, that should be a real exciting game tonight. You know, a lot of people still think that the Coliseum is completely sold out. That's not quite true. We've got lots of good tickets still available. They got to jump down to the box office, I'd suggest right away, and take care of getting some tickets. But we do have some tickets still. There's always going to be 300 or 400 available. So we'd really suggest you get down there, come out and see some real exciting Western Hockey League action.
Jerry, keys to a fast start and a good start for the Tri-City Americans this year.
Well, I think we've already got off to a fairly decent start. You know, we just have to play hard and play intense, and it's always easier to do in our building with our fans. Hopefully Rick gets back quickly, you know, get some cohesiveness going, and that will happen.
Okay. Face-off tonight at 6 o'clock. The Tri-City Americans take on the Seattle Thunderbirds, their second game of the season, their second season in the Tri-Cities. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Good luck, gentlemen, and thanks for joining us. We'll see you again next time on Impact Northwest.